Hey, welcome back. I wanted to spend this video today building out the rest of our EDM solution. I'm going to walk through setting up your sensitive information types in the M365 solution. I'm going to do it in regex. I'm going to do it with the XML options that Microsoft offers, and then I'll show you how to do it in the portal, maybe to customize a rule after the fact. I'm also going to show you some quick tips on working with some data, how I've experienced some issues, and how we can test for that. So let's get into it and let's get this EDM solution finalized and built out for use in our solution. All right, so let's start building our sensitive information type that use EDM so that then we can use it. So I'm going to start with the base from this site that Microsoft has, and we can come into it and go down and we'll download their sample XML file, and then we'll start customizing it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this code, and I'm going to switch over to Visual Studios and put that in there. So the first thing that you'll notice that we need to do with this is we need to customize it to meet our solutions. And so there's a couple of key areas that you'll notice in it. This information right here is the kind of rule pack information. So this is all of the things related to you as an organization, and specifically all of the rules that are going to be stored in this rule pack, because you might take this data and do a bunch of different rules in one set of things. Then in here, additionally, we have this breakout of rules, and this is going to be all of the decision making about all of our rules. And so with this is going to be all of the things like, okay, match on our social security number, and then go to our EDM solution. And so we have to put all of that information in here and build it. You'll notice there's quite a bit of GUIDs in here, and so we're going to need to customize a bunch of these different GUIDs in our organization to make this work. So we'll go ahead and just get started with that. And let's start customizing. So first thing we need to do is, this is a new rule pack. So this XML for the rule pack, we have to create a GUID for this. So let's go ahead and we'll just run PowerShell. And we're going to get a new GUID. So we're going to do new -GUID, and oops. And then we're going to send that to clipboard, or we'll just output it here. So new GUID just creates a randomly generated GUID on ours. And so for this rule pack, we'll put in a brand new one for this rules. Publisher, this is going to be the information about you as an organization. And so you need a new, so every time you do one of these, you'll need a new rule pack, GUID. So every time you create its own rule pack, make sure you create with this one. And then you'll need a new GUID for you as an organization. So we'll do this one, and you only need this one once. Okay. And so we're going to customize this one. Next in here is all of the information about our rules. So we're going to put in our name of our organization. So this is going to be Doug Does Tech. This is the name of the rule pack. So DLP test rule pack. Oh. And description. This rule pack contains this, is fine. Contains the DLP test.com EDM our demo. All right, cool. So we're set there. This high level information up here, all of this rule pack stuff is done. And so we've customized that. You can use this same, rule pack information and then just customize it for each time you have to create a new rule pack. It's pretty easy there. Next, let's get into the rules, and we'll customize this next. So in this area, what you'll notice is we have this exact match, and this is going to be all of the logic about our rules. So you'll notice in this, we have this exact match, and then we have this localization section here. And this is coming in and it's showing you the information about this. So this is where you define the name of the policy. In here, this is all of the rules related to it. So we'll customize each of these things as we go along. One important thing to note is that for each of these exact match sections, we are going to have a resource inside of this localized string that is going to match. So this GUID needs to match this GUID right here. And so that's how that is going to work in here. Okay, so let's clear that out again, and we'll switch over. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to update this exact match to match our data. Paste that in. And why did that look so weird? Paste that in. Okay, so we're good there. Next thing is we need to give it a name. So let's go down here and we're going to give this a name for this data type. So we're going to do the social security number one first. So DLP, we'll do EDM. Just like that. This is fine. This is fine. We can customize this, but we don't need to. All right, next, let's get into this. So this is going to line up to this. This will be the name that we'll use in our DLP policy. Here is where we're getting into the fun stuff. So data store, patient records. We need to match this to our existing data store that we created earlier. So we're going to go back to our EDM solution here, and we'll go ahead and set that up. EDM classifiers. The name we used for this was DLP test schema. So we're going to grab that in here, switch back to this, DLP test schema. Okay, next we need to declare the pattern matches. So again, it's going to first come into this, and this classification area is what should this solution match on first. So it's going to use a built-in sensitivity type right now to match first on, the US Social Security number SSN. Then it's going to go into our data store and match in this row to that. So if you're following along here, that would be under this sensitive info type, right? We need to match this in here. So US Social Security number is this one right here. So we can just grab this name here and then put it into our XML, which is kind of what they did here. But important to note, if you have something like a medical record number or something along those lines that isn't in here as your first match, we need to build that out first so that we can then use it in our DLP solution. So luckily this is already done for us. So in this case, we're just going to put this in. Next, we need to match this against our data store. So let's pull up our original schema type that we created. So in our schema, again, this was that schema area. This is that SSN that's searchable for us. And so now let's go ahead and put this in here. So SSN, this is fine. And we're good to go. This pattern breakout is the different levels of accuracy in our organization. So like any of the other sensitive info types before, when we see a low accuracy match and a high accuracy match, you can create as many patterns in this XML that you want, and we can set the different weights for it. The low accuracy from Microsoft is 65%, medium is 75%, and then high accuracy is 85%. So if you wanted to have a different definition for each of those, you would just come in and create multiple sets of patterns like they're doing in this policy. Okay. So cool there. Let's go ahead and customize this second one and walk through that. So again, same idea here. We're going to be more accurate this time. So match first on US Social Security number, then go to the database or our schema and check for SSN to see if it's a match. Then it's coming in and looking at some of these other things. So let's pull from our schema some of the other things that we might want to match on. And again, the idea with this is that it's more accurate. It's a 75% accuracy versus 65 because we found SSN and we found other things from the database in that same row, or in this case, within 300 character proximity of it. So let's go grab a couple things. So we have last name. We don't have patient number. We have first name. Oh, they already have these in here. I should have just used those. Let's grab address. I was thinking about, gender. Let's do birth date. That might be interesting, especially with the social security number. And let's grab phone. Oh, we already have phone in there. And then date of birth. Do we have date of birth? Oh, birth date. That's the same one. And we'll do email, right? And in this case, Microsoft has a match. If it finds 3 or more of these, that's considered 3 to 6 of these, that's considered a 75% match. So in our case, if we're going to find 0 through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, that's going to be considered a high accuracy match for us. And so you can adjust this policy down, so like you might want to come into this and build out a second or third one of this and then say, okay, an 85% match is matching on, 2 and above of this. And this, lower accuracy one is matching on something like this. So if you want to build out multiple layers of accuracy in here and say like a high, medium, and low, we can do that kind of with these data types. So that's looking pretty good right there. I'm going to actually stick with just the 2 levels of accuracy just to make it simpler. And what is that? And we're good to go there. The next step that we want to do is, this is only matching currently on SSN. And when we set up our schema, we wanted to also match in that data on credit card number. So we needed to build out a second one for this. And so same idea with this. What we want to do is we're going to add in another exact match, and we'll just duplicate this one. New GUID as well. And we also need to create another resource pack. So this is going to be our name for this. And again, let's copy this original GUID and put it in here. So let's customize the name. This is going to be CCN, credit card number. Okay, we're good to go there. Default language English, that's fine. And let's customize this to match. So, now that this is okay, again, first thing, we've changed that regex, still going to be using this DLP test data source. For a credit card, what we want to do is pull from the schema in here. The exact match is going to be this component here, and we'll put that in both of these areas. Now we also need to grab a new classification because, again, it's going to match first on whatever is this classification, then go to your database, and then look at these different accuracy areas. So let's go to our sensitive info types, and we'll pull the credit card name. Okay, we're going to put that in there just like that. Okay, we're good to go. All right, that looks good to me. So we got 2 different sets of definitions in here. We got our U.S. Social Security number, exact match set. And so we got 2 different levels of accuracy. First, it's going to match on the U.S. Social Security number regex match or the sensitive info type. Then it's going to go to our database and match it there. We also have a credit card one that is separated out, and that's going to check here again on a credit card, then go to the database and match CCN. For increased accuracy or a 75% match, we are going to be using some of these types here. And so what we need to do, and so that looks pretty good to me. I think we're ready to upload it into the solution and test it. So I'm gonna go ahead and save, and I'm gonna go ahead and pause this, and then we're gonna set up the ingest. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and now upload this rule pack into the solution, and then we can use it. So I did make a couple of edits off-site, off-screen. I put in that I wanted to use the CCV from our data store as well as the expiration date as part of the matching components. And then I customized it a little bit differently than what I did on screen. So let's go ahead and log in and we'll set up this to work in our solution. First thing is that you need to have, of course, the compliance PowerShell installed. So just run your connect command. Next, it's always nice to review what is exactly in your existing solution. So you'll notice a lot of different rule packs in here that are pre-made from Microsoft or that you customize using the GUI. And so in my case, I have the standard rule pack from Microsoft. So that'd be like the 200 different SITs, the huge list from them. And then these are ones where I've probably made them over time in my own solution, adding in, some of the custom other things for testing, like, medical record number or something through the interface in the GUI. Okay, so to create our solution, what we need to do is grab the content from our XML. So we're just going to use this get content and map it into wherever we're storing the file. So we're going to run that line. And then next step is new DLP information type. Of course, I'll have this all in the show notes so that you can just grab the code easily for yourself. But we are set there. So now if we come into our EDM solution, we'll refresh, because that's my old one that I just deleted. We should be able to now go into compliance, data classifications, and then EDM classifiers and see if we have the new sensitive info types. And there we go. So we have this uploaded into the data, and so we can look at it now in our rule pack and see exactly what's going on with it. If you need to modify it, if you say, hey, I don't like this now, I want to make some changes, you don't always have to do it in the GUID or in the XML. You can come in and customize now at this point at looking at kind of this data here, right? So if you wanted to, you can now adjust this and make this match to how you want it to do. So if we need to make changes later, we can do that. So we're ready to go with this. I usually at this point like to test my data sets and make sure they're working correctly before I put them into a DLP policy to kind of go hog wild with it. So to test that, let's go into here and we'll go under, again, sensitive info types, and we'll now look for them in here. So they should be in this list. And yep, there they are. And so now we can use this testing function in here to upload and test this data. So I have some pre-made test data. It's the same data that we were looking at before. And so let's go ahead and try it out here and see what results we get, if it's actually working. And it's not. So we need to go in and figure out what's going on with it. It actually might be a delay sometimes in doing this. And so we'll give it a couple seconds to test this correctly. All right, so back to our data set to figure out what I did wrong in this case. And I did it off screen just so that you didn't have to watch me fumble around and figure out exactly what happened. But what I actually did in this case is when I came into this EDM classifier and grabbed from my data set, I grabbed this name here. And that wasn't the correct one because yes, it's the correct order, but it's not exactly what the solution wants. What it wanted me to do was come exactly to my DLP schema upload and grab the name from here. The exact same name, except for I used camel case in here, or different capitalization in this. And so what I needed to do was actually match that capitalization and get it exact in here. So lesson learned for me, make sure you're grabbing, and maybe something you don't have to experience, make sure you're grabbing exactly from the schema that you uploaded and created, and it's got to be perfectly in line with the same way, even case in this case. So that's what happened with this one. So that's part of the testing phase, figuring out exactly what's going on with this. So we're going to save this, and now to re-upload it, we're just going to use the set DLP command in here, and we should be able to do that. And now set it, and we should be good. So I'm going to say yes to all, and let's go now in and test this. EDM. And now I got 2 because I was doing some testing with another set of files. but we should be able to see here and upload and test. And there we have it. So in this case, in our sample file, you'll notice I have pulled directly from the database, and I have that SSN components here, and I have 4 matches, and I am matching on both the low accuracy one and the high accuracy one. So that's really good. That's kind of what we want. And if we went and removed some of this other data sets in here from these kind of components, we'd get different sets of matches into the solution. So you can customize it. You can take advantage of it. So that's the Social Security number one. Let's do the credit card one, make sure that one's working as well. And again, a low accuracy match and a medium accuracy match for that data type. So we're good to go. So this looks good for us. Now the next step is actually using it. So to do that, now essentially once it's in this sensitive info types, now we can put it into one of our DLP policies. So again, I recommend starting always, every time you customize a new information type or anything like that, put it into a monitor only policy so you can work on some of the false positives. So we'll go ahead and customize that real quick. And we're going to add it both to our low volume rule and our high volume rules. If you don't have a monitor only policy, I actually walk through creating this and kind of the why of this in another video. And so I'll put a link at this point in the video notes to do that. So we're just going to customize our high and low just to match kind of the exact same schema. Again, you might want to customize the confidence level at this time. You'll notice here it defaulted to low confidence as the recommendation. That's the reason for that is actually back in our schema, we have this recommend confidence level, and it's set to 65, which is a 1-for-1 lineup with this data point here. So if you wanted to say every time someone used this rule pack, hey, you put a different recommendation in, you can customize that and make it give the correct recommendation that you want. Okay. So we're good to go on this, and next, and we will submit it. And just like that, you should be good to go with using the solution. It'll start hitting on your policies. It's going to take the obligatory 15 to 1 hour for Microsoft to sync up and have that rule start taking effect in your environment. So give it an appropriate amount of time and then start sending a test email through, have it come through, and it should work fine. One thing I do want to mention with anytime you're building EDM solutions is one gotcha that you should be aware of, and it will really help with your understanding of this. So in this case, let's pull in this data here. So I have exact numbers from our data type before, and it's just the straight numbers in here. And so if we go ahead and now use this same type and we test it in this, you'll notice this is probably not going to fail for us, or is not going to work for us. And in fact, it doesn't. And you might be thinking, well, what's the point of exact data match if it's not matching on just the numbers showing in our data? And the reason why this isn't matching is because there is not the appropriate keyword that our definition needs. So when we set up this US Social Security number, it's using the pre-made Microsoft one of US Social Security number. And let's go ahead and look at that policy and let's see everything that needs. And one of the things that's interesting about this is on the right here, you can see these definitions. This is an update. That's cool. I like that interface. But each of these definitions for the built-in US Social Security number, you'll notice there's a supporting element here called keywords. And if you look at every one of these different definitions, even though they're the low accuracy ones, it requires a keyword. And so that's great for removing false positives for just a regex match based guess. But its really downside is that it doesn't work well when we have EDM, right? Because we want to check the database. We're using the database to do our, more accuracy thing. I don't need the keyword SSN in here to make this work. That's not the point of setting up EDM. So if you're running into that same issue with your MRNs or your social security numbers or any other data type where it's not hitting properly, you might need to go in and customize your match, your first match in here. So in that case, what we would want to do is we would want to build another classification or another sensitive info type that doesn't use keyword. And then we can set that up in our database policy. So that's usually a big gotcha for it. It's really easy to do, honestly, especially this US Social Security number one. I see a lot of hospitals that I work with, go ahead and customize this right off the bat. And so we'll just make a copy of this and then start editing it, and we can remove the keyword component. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick and say no keyword. And let's just go into each of these, and we're going to dump this keyword requirement on each of these different definitions. I like Microsoft's definition for this pretty well, just because they have so many different pre-built patterns. You, of course, could build your own pattern match, and that might be more effective or easier for you. But for me, I just like to use the built-in one that Microsoft's put a lot of work into, because they have different format components of this already, and I don't want to rebuild all of that. They have some really good logic that they did when they designed this. So all I did is dump those keywords, and now we're ready to use it in our new definition. So we're going to go ahead and grab that, and where to go? Give it a refresh. There we go. So now let's go back to our sensitive info type, and we'll update it in our rule pack. So again, now that we have that created, we can come in here and adjust this rule pack to meet the needs that we want. Okay. And so there we go. Now we need to re-update it. So we're going to go ahead and download that into our data type again, rerun that command, and we'll run the set DLP option in here. And yes to all. Okay. All right. Let's now go ahead and do that test. We'll see if it fixed it yet. All right. No, still didn't work. So it looks like I need to do some more testing on this to customize and figure out what exactly went wrong, or it might be just a delay in the update that I just did to the solution. But those are going to be some of the steps that you want to walk through as you design your EDM solution, making sure everything is correct in there. I bet I didn't save when I did this upload. Yeah, I don't know if I saved it before I did the upload, so we'll do that one more time. But I hope this helps you out. I'll go and customize this, figure out where I went wrong, and I'll put in the final code in the solution. And I hope this helps someone out there get up and running with it. But these are kind of the expected steps that you want to walk through when you are using EDM. If you have questions, if this doesn't make sense, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to respond to what issues you're running into. If we can game plan how to make the solution work better for you, let me know. Happy to answer any questions you have. All right, take care. Bye all.